Today we're going to talk about one thing that I did that helped me tremendously to get my SP when I was stuck, like when I'd been doing it for a really long time. This was like 5 years ago that I did this, but it helped a lot. And every single time I've told a client or a friend or anyone to do this, they have literally had success. Okay, so that's why I'm sharing it today, and you really need to understand it is so important and can help tremendously, and it's very simple. So, okay, I'm Elis and Corey. This is Radical Decider, and this is what we're talking about today. Okay, so you really want to try this if this is for you. I mean, you could try it anyway, but if you've been trying to get your SP, you've been trying to do all these techniques, you have failed at some of them, or you feel burnt out, or you just don't feel like doing what you used to be doing or whatever, like I do recommend sticking to whatever it is and knowing that, you know, things are going well and things are happening. But if you want to even, like, you could add this in to whatever you're doing to produce movement, or produce, like, at least just create the feeling of living in the end. Okay, this is like another way of doing that, and actually very helpful. So what I did when I was giving up, or like didn't feel good about it, and I thought like, oh, just like I've tried everything, I don't really want to do this anymore. I was just like, you know what, maybe if I just give up, I can just relax about it and try to do something else. Anyway, it was like almost like the last resort that I tried, and it was I literally just started, I did it on accident on at first, and then I started doing it on purpose after that. So I literally thought about, like, okay, let's say we were together. I was just like, okay, let's just pretend like, okay, say we were together like we were before. What issues would came up that have to do with me, obviously, because the issues are like having to do with what's in my mind about it, right? So I was like, okay, what was I thinking at certain times, and what would I need to change if we were together then, you know? So I was like thinking like, okay, how would I have shifted that if we were together right now, and those were the same, and if we had the same problems, right? So it was actually a very helpful way of looking at it, because it actually put me back in the position of being together. Okay, so that's the important part of this. So, and a couple of things came up. Okay, can you stop doing that? Okay, so sorry, the dog's smelling all this stuff. Okay, I'm gonna come up here. Okay, that's a good girl. Okay, so anyway, so what I can't take, I'm not going to talk on my hands anymore. So so the two different things that I could think of now, I mean, this was a while ago, but the two different things I can think of now were, one, I thought of like, oh, I remember not thinking like he wanted to do things like physical activities, and that was something like I thought was really healthy and good to do with a partner, right? And I was like, oh, he just feels like he wouldn't be like happy hiking or something, and I love hiking. So I was like, it was like a discord that I kind of like just accepted, and I was fine with it. But then I was like, no, you're like, if I knew I could change that, and I knew that things were all changeable, like it was like the things I could think of that I would change, right? So I thought of like, okay, I would change that he loves hiking with me, and that he is excited to go into the woods and like really loves to plan it, and like it's part of like what makes him happy. And I added in there that we have like really good relationship conversations, because we're just by ourselves and it's peaceful, and it's like, you know, there's no music playing, there's no distractions, and we're able to like enjoy each other's company, and it makes us closer. That's literally what I made in my head, because he didn't seem to used to like hiking. Now maybe that's just like my perception of what it was back then, you know, but it was one of those things that I was like, okay, if I could change anything and everything, that I would want something different in this area. So then I started saying that, like, okay, no, he loves hiking. And it kind of like, the result of doing that really pulled me out of like the not having, right? Because that's really where you want to, if you're ever in a mindset of like not having something, right, you're just like in lack, and you're feeling frustrated, and you're feeling like lost and forlorn, and like you have done this forever, and you're just feeling like giving up and all this crap. Like, I was, then this will really help almost like redirect your focus into something that's like actually productive, right? So I was like, okay, what are the things like, if we were together now, what are the things that I would like fix about if we were just had a normal relationship? Or like, well, what would I fix about that? So that was one thing, the hiking thing. I was like, okay, makes us closer. He actually really likes it. It's actually his idea. You know, I made all these things like, okay, that's what I would change. And okay, that started to feel really good to me, because I was like imagining doing that, imagining him inviting me hiking, imagining him having him be the you know, the one that's telling me, look at this. Just like laying, having him be the one who's inviting me, and like kind of switch the roles, right? Where I feel like I know that he likes it if he's telling me he wants to go. Okay, so that was one thing. The other thing that came up was I had this thought in the back of my head, and like I recalled during our relationship, I thought like, oh, he's not going to really like hanging out with my family. And I don't know why I thought that. It was just obviously a bad thought that I was having, and it didn't make me not want to be with him. It was just something that, like, obviously if we were together, then I would change that, right? So I was like, okay, that's another thing that came up, and I was like, okay, I can work on that now, because that was what I had ideas about that were negative in our relationship. So it really redirected my focus, and I really got to focus on like, okay, assuming we're together now, what would I be working on? And so it really helped put me in the idea of like, we're together. And it was a magical thing, because it was like a new way of like redirecting my focus. And so if you guys try that, if you have past relationships with these people, they're not like a new person you're wanting to be with, but like a person you have old stories with or whatever, and you're trying to recreate them, and recreate your relationship with them, you know, and like it's taking a while, or you're feeling frustrated, this can help so much. So I'll finish the last one I did. So or one of the ones I did a few. There was a few topics that came up in my head as like things that I would work on if we were together, right? So and this was years ago, but it worked. It like switched me over into like a knowingness, which was really powerful. Okay, and it can be extremely powerful, and anyone that's ever done this and done it like correctly and actually done it has had success with it, you know. The other one, so the last one I'll give you as an example was the one where I was like, oh, I think he would be like bored with my family, is what I was thinking. And it was just a negative thought that would happen, or just happened to come up when I was together with him, you know. And that's not like a good thought, because you want your worlds to mix, right? You want them to get along and have a good time. And so I just started affirming, like, no, and assuming we're together, and then affirming, like, no, he loves hanging out with my family. He has the best time. It's so relaxing. Like, you know, because we live in the country, like my family's home is in the country. So I thought like, oh, he just doesn't like the woods, or like he'd just be bored up there. He's a city guy. You know, I had all these like preconceived notions. Like, he's just not going to like it. Like, we're just like simple folk, we live on a farm, you know, he's gonna be like, oh, this is boring, you know, and like not have anything to do. But then I just thought of like he would get into it, he would like be riding the tractor. I made up this whole thing that like, no, he would love it. He would read books up there, he would take the time to be quiet and relax, and he would love the creek, and he would love all the wilderness, and like all the like the pond and the lakes and the trees and all this stuff. Like I would just affirm that that's not true, and that he actually loved being relaxed at my family's house, and that they all get along and everyone's mellow, because my families are really relaxed, like they're not always doing stuff, and I always pictured his family as like always busy. So anyway, those two things were like one of the two things. I worked on more than that, but it was just two things that came up that were like not making me feel good, and it actually working on them made me feel like I was back in the relationship. Okay, it was really important, and I had the same problems as I did before, right? But I never actually tried to fix them before. I was just like, I kind of just accepted my bad ideas, right? So now I knew I could change it. So like I was just working on that, and then I'm telling you, everything flipped on its head. Like I actually started getting movement after that. Like it was really amazing how it turned me into just like, okay, now that I'm in this thing, how do I fix these things that are coming up that aren't great, right? So it like literally shifts your mindset, and it really puts you in the position of like, now that I'm here in this relationship, how do I fix what I want to happen? Or like, how do I fix it so that it's perfect for me, right? So try this. Please let me know if this works. I know it will work. Thumbs it up, please, and subscribe if you love this stuff, if you love Neville and, you know, transforming your life. And then coaching details and like information about pricing and whatever is down below, and you can email me and all that. Okay, bye guys.